Hello everyone, I'm Rishabh Goel here from Prodigy Finance, and today we're going to chat about USD versus INR loans. Which one is more reasonable for you? So we're going to talk about what are the different type of lenders, what are the different type of loans, what are the pros and cons of different currencies, and why it may or may not make sense for you to borrow in a USD currency. So we're going to start in a few minutes. So just give me a minute to get a few things sorted on my end. And then before we really kick off, while more people join in, I'm going to do a few polls to get an idea of who I'm talking to and hopefully customize the content accordingly. I'm very happy to also talk about different types of loans and why am I talking about it. So when I say why am I talking about it, it's because I work with Prodigy Finance, which is a loan provider that sources its funds from a bunch of people who believe that study abroad is not easy to fund at this point of time, and they want to provide education loans at an easier process, which is at competitive rates without any collateral or cosigner. All the loans that our company provides are without any collateral and cosigner. And till late, we have supported over 15,000 students, over $700 million. So we have been doing this for some time, and we kind of know how it works. In the past 10 years of our history, we've also understood different aspects of the industry. In students' mind is which currency should I borrow in? So what are the pros and cons of borrowing in USD versus a local currency? That is a big question in a lot of the students' minds. And to basically, before we jump into that, I quickly wanted to get into what are the different type of loans and which currency are they denominated in. So if you're looking to take a domestic loan, be it collateral or a no collateral loan, which requires a co-borrower / co-signer, which could be from SBI, Credila, there are like so many lenders out there. All of these loans are given in INR, Indian rupee. They are lent to you in a loan agreement which is valid on Indian soil. And because it is valid only on Indian soil and not valid anywhere outside of India, they require either a collateral or someone to act as a co-borrower sitting in India. So they require a co-borrower or a collateral. They will lend in INR, and that's one option that a lot of students look at. The other option is US lenders. There are banks in US. Student lending is a massive industry. $1.4 trillion is lent to students at any point of time. $1.4 trillion. That's a huge amount. But the big caveat there is that US lenders will not lend to international students. They do not know who you are. You are a new person in this country. You have never been there before. You are a student. Maybe you go back to India. Maybe you go back to your home country. Maybe you cannot finish your education. You cannot know anything about you. And hence they require a local cosigner, someone who has citizenship or green card to cosign the loan for you. What it also means is that the loan is in USD. And then there are international lenders, such as one of them is Prodigy Finance, do not ever require collateral or cosigner, and they give you a loan in the currency of your education. So it could be USD, it could be GBP, it could be Euro, depending on where you go. And depending on where you go, if you're thinking about borrowing in INR, I just wanted to quickly encapsulate a few of the things that could be potential benefits of borrowing in USD. Number one is that you eliminate FX fluctuations. Now, if people tell you, which I'm going to address in the next slide, if people tell you that INR is going to depreciate, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. The reality is that currencies go up and down, and predicting your foreign exchange is a risk. I know people who borrowed in 2014 in INR at around 60 rupees, and then they were repaying at $1 which was less than 60. So what it meant was that when they were paying their tuition, their living, they were borrowing more INR for each dollar they spent. And when they were repaying, they got for every dollar they earned, they were able to repay back less USD. Again, that's a risk. That's a risk you have to take if you're looking to borrow in a loan currency. If you borrow in USD, you eliminate that. Secondly, when it comes to currencies, you also need to convert your currency. Now, that is a hidden charge that people don't talk about. It can be 1 to 2% of your total cost, and this cost happens twice. Once when you are going to study and paying for a tuition living. The second is when you're on OPT and you're paying back your expenses to your home country. So you're paying back your loan to your home country. What you also need to keep in mind is having that every conversion every month, especially when you're repaying, becomes an additional hassle, something you need to take care of. And again, borrowing in USD eliminates that. Thirdly, it's easy. You borrow in a currency, you pay in that currency, you earn in that currency, you repay in that currency. So those are some of the benefits. I would say it's very important to keep in mind that you eliminate a lot of the mental hassles and potential risk that can derail your future, especially your career abroad. And when I talk about derail, I'm not talking about it lightly. What I have often heard from students is the argument that the home currency will depreciate. That is, if I have value in INR, the INR will depreciate against USD over time. Now, I could argue against that argument. That's one case. But what I'm going to actually say is that what if your home currency depreciates while you're studying? So you took a loan for 2 years. The loan is in INR. And in the span of few months, the rupee depreciated, and suddenly you do not have enough money to complete your education because your education is in USD. You have to borrow in INR. The INR value or the INR gets you less USD because the currency is depreciated. And what it means for you is that you will need to borrow more. You will probably need to ask for help from parents. And if either of those options do not work out, you potentially drop out from your master's. Now, what I'm saying is not, it should not be taken lightly. I'll give you an example. So if you borrow in a home currency and it depreciates, you might not be able to complete your education. And this is an example that I have where the figures are picked up from xe.com, which is an international website tracking currency movement. So in this example, if we assume that the total cost I-20 amount is $60,000, so as of Feb 1st, that equates to around 40 lakhs. So if that equates to 40 lakhs, where 1 USD 63.66 INR, I borrow 40 lakhs from an Indian lender. Okay. Now, my tuition is due on October 8th, when suddenly I realize that the rupee has depreciated. It's now 74 rupees for $1, which means that the 40 lakhs that I borrowed is actually now worth only $54,000. Effectively, the amount you borrowed is no longer enough to actually fund your education. So you're short of $6,000, which you can either borrow from your lender. They might be able to lend you, maybe not. That's and even if they can, it's not going to be easy. If you're already in the US, then it's not possible because a loan agreement has to be signed in India. You could ask for help from parents, but it's going to be challenging. You already have asked your parents for so much, and it creates additional stress, not just for yourself, but your whole family. And if neither of those things work out, then you simply do not have enough money to fund your education and potentially drop off from the master's. So the key message I want to send across is borrowing in home currency creates financial insecurity and emotional stress. US borrowing in USD can make it easier. Now, the question that is important for you to think about is like how we want to evaluate the stress. Is it important to you? Maybe it is not. That's something unique for every student. Different students have different financial status, their families behave in a different way, and they might be able to cope up with some of these things better than others. So that's for you to figure out. But I just wanted to raise this point, and this is a very important point that was very interesting for us as a company, Prodigy Finance, to learn is, especially during the September-October period, a lot of students who had taken loans from an Indian lender, instead of taking disbursements from them, opted to cancel the loan and take a loan from Prodigy Finance, simply because they realized that the currency depreciation is extremely risky for them at this point of time, and they felt safer with borrowing in the same currency they're going to spend. So that's the key message I had, and I'm happy to take questions.